Hello! In this video, we'll be discussing how to create an event for your student organization. All student organizations are required to host 2 events per month, and your meetings count as events. So get your meetings in the system as soon as you know when they're going to be, and that will count as your event for that month. All right, to navigate over to the events form, you will go to the organization's tools header on the upper left-hand side. Click the organization that you're going to be creating events for. Today we're going to use Norbert Williams Hall, and then click Events. This will bring you to the page of events for your student organization. And it will show you the past events as well as give you the option to go over to the right-hand side and click Create an Event. It is important that you are very detailed and have all of the information possible for your event. This helps us, the administrators in the office, pick the right location for you if the location you want is not available or will not quite fit the audience size that you are expecting. And so please be truthful and always remember you should do this as far in advance as possible. This form is detailed, so you will need to have all of your ducks in a row before you even hit submit or before you even come to this page. But once you're on your page, please give the title of the event that you're trying to host, what the theme of the event is. These are very generalizing statements, but what for people who are going to be looking at the external view of this site, so any prospective students or any current students that are looking for something to do, the site breaks it down in category. So pick the one that best fits your for your particular event. So we're going to say it's something social because most events are. For the description, be detailed, but remember, this description is the external facing description for the club. And so this is basically you advertising for the club. It's not giving the Office of Student Engagement any details about the club or what the event is. It's not giving us any details like that. This is what will be promoted out on the college's website because they pull events from there, on the external version of ConnQuest, as well as the ConnQuest app called Quark. If you're co-sponsoring this with any other organization, you can add them in here, and that will give them credit as well. Remember, each organization needs to have 2 events, so if you're co-sponsoring, both of you get credit for those events. Select your date. And then you do need to submit an event request, even if it's online or in person. And so once you select which that's going to be, you can click location. All of these parts are required. You don't have to give me the date or anything like that. Add a location. This is what I'm going to use as your primary event request. And so I said Crow here, but that's actually not a good description. So we want a specific space in Crow. If you tell me Crow, I'm going to pick a space in Crow and shove you in there. But I want Crow 1941 room. So that is my first option. You will be able further down in the form or later pages of the form to give a second and third choice of location. It is very important that you have different choices in your location for what works best for your particular event. Now, if it's a multi-day event, let's say it is your meetings for the semester, you should add a date. You only need to submit one form if it's a repeat event. So for all of your meetings, if it's bi-monthly, weekly, you can add another date. Add another date, same time. It even adds the location for you. And then we'll be able to create one reservation with the Office of Events for your particular event. So who gets to see this event? Depending on what the event is, remember, public means anyone who's online can see this event. And so I ask students always to be mindful of this section, knowing that our campus is open. And so that you should be mindful of who can see this and who's going to pop up at your meeting and being prepared for that. So most of the events that I put in on ConnQuest for the Office of Student Engagement are students and staff only, with the exception of some orientation things for new students. So we can select that. And then once again, you'll be able, more specifically, to be able to see what categories your club of your event falls under. And so it is going to be a social that is a dinner reception. And the perk is free food. These help the site break down if a student is looking for an event, they can separate it into different categories for them. Taking you on to the next page, there is an RSVP attribute of the site. You can choose whether or not you want to use that particular attribute. Most of the time, though, unless you have a limited seating capacity, I choose no one. But it also allows you, if you do RSVPs, to have an evaluation of your forms. Currently, clubs are not required to evaluate each of their events, but it is good to know how your event was received. And so you're able to add in questions. It could be a checkbox, a button. You can add a text area, a drop down, but you can add in questions about your event, and that'll send it to anyone who is listed as an RSVP for that particular event. Please, please, please pick an image for your event. All of you create flyers for your events, and so add that image here. It's incredibly helpful for us to have that image. If you don't select an image, the site creates a generic image for you, and it actually lowers you on the events page. And so your event isn't seen with events that do have a particular image attached to them. It's also helpful because once the school year gets active, all of the student organizations, all of the houses, and some departments put their events on there. So it brands your event in a way that helps people spot it out. All right, this is the basic information form, and this is where it gets more detailed. All of these questions are incredibly important. So whoever is the main contact for this information, you should fill out all of this information, and that will lead you to the subsequent pages of what we need to know to plan this event safely for all of our students. As I said earlier, this ConnQuest pulls events from, the college pulls events from ConnQuest to put on the college, to Camel Web and the college's main calendar. And so you need to let me know if you want this on the college's calendar. If you do not, then I'll be able to call over to communications and ask them to take that particular event down. Here's where you will be able to add in your particular space that you would like the event hosted in. All of the rooms on campus that are accessible to students for hosting events is on in this drop down. So please go through it and find your particular events. When you click other, that's one of the spaces that isn't quite, we need special permissions to host an event there. And so like the galleries over in Cummings, we have to work with the art department and the events office and make sure everybody's on the same page. And then the art department would give us the yes or no. But you need to submit your event form first, and then we'll go over to, we'll start the proceedings from there. But you can select a first choice, a second choice. All of that lets us know where you want to host your event. Now, oftentimes students are like, I don't know where I want to host my event. I've added in a link here for you that'll take you to the event office's database of all the rooms on campus. Hopefully it's working today. There it goes. My apologies, my internet is a little slow today. And so this brings you to every single room. This is the reservation system. You don't have access to make a reservation on ConnQuest. Only professional staff members have access to do that, and that's where the form comes in. But this particular site gives you every single room that is, every single room that is on campus. And so you'll be able to see if it's available. As you can see, if the room is not available, it will be blocked off by a blue bar. This particular event is listed as private, and so you can't see who's using this space. But oftentimes, when the event is not listed as private, you can see who is hosting that space. So take a look here. You can also sort by room. You go to whichever room. So let's go to Crow today. I don't think anybody's in this building today. But yes, no one's here today. Oh, so sad. But you can see what rooms are available. Oh, that's a lie. You can see what spaces are available in Crow and see if the date you want is available to rent. Like I said, you should be able to see who's in the space, but this is a private event, so you can't see who it is. But oftentimes, it'll tell you what event is going on in the space, and then you can move on from there. Let's X out of that. Going further down, these all are required questions, so please collect input this information. All of these questions will help the system guide you to the right page, subsequent page on the events form. The events form is 30 pages. That's why I narrow it down with these questions to get you to the pages that you need. This last part is very important. As some of you know, there are televisions in the Office of Student Engagement as well as in Harris Dining Hall that host the flyers for all of the upcoming events. If you want your particular event on the televisions, you have to upload the file separately other than the image. You have to upload the file here, and we'll be able to grab that and put it up on the TVs. The TVs get updated on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays by the program assistants in the Office of Student Engagement. And so we hope to get your event in there as soon as possible. Please be mindful when you're submitting your events that the Office of Student Engagement has 2 people reviewing the events. Rachel Loughran does the club sports, and I, Jeanette Williams, does all of the other clubs. So if you put your submission in at the last minute, the odds of me seeing it are very small. So please be mindful and put in your event requests as early as possible. Now, we're going to... Oh, this video is very long, but we're going to go over to the events tab so you can see what it looks like from there. As I said, it is very helpful for you to put an image up for all of your particular events so that we can get them there in time. I hope you found this I hope you found this video very helpful. If you have any questions or if you need some assistance accessing the events tab or the creative event tab, please feel free to contact the Office of Student Engagement located in the Crozier Williams College Center in Crow 215.